Today, we're going to talk about what's in the news and other current events. Is there really a housing market crash coming? Welcome to the Property Preservation Insider Show. As we kick it off today, first I'd like to say please like this video, leave a comment, or if you have a question. If you do that, that helps push us out on YouTube and TikTok. So please help us out a little bit. And last week, we went over and finished out the River House. Today, we're going to go over what's happening in the housing market and economy. But first, I wanted to go over our school site. There it goes. We have a community here, and for right now, it's free, and you got to hurry up and sign up today because at the end of the month, it'll be $5 to join. So sign up today. It's imperative that you sign up now while it's free. Save yourself $5 a month. But in our school site here, we have a community where people ask questions, and you'll actually be directly in contact with us. I post stuff all the time. Brian and Mary are involved in the site as well. Sometimes we post up links or videos of things that we are seeing that are happening. We always post up pictures of stuff that's happened in the show. Like this is from last week when we talked about the River House and other things like that. You can ask questions here. This is a place where we can talk and about the property preservation industry, but also it's private. So if you want to get on there and complain about some company or whatever, or you're having issues with this or whatever, it's not going to get out all over the internet like some Facebook groups, and you have to worry about repercussions that happen when you share something that you don't want everybody to see. So be sure to sign up today. If you go to our website at the right here in the middle, you click on this link, it'll take you to the school site. And then from there, make yourself a user, sign up. And like I said, until right now, until the end of the month, it's totally free. Plus, we have some classes coming. Right now, we have 2 free classes up there. It talks about how to start your property preservation business and also some how-tos, which we'll be constantly adding to those. But eventually, we'll have modules, paid modules for all the different jobs you can do in the property preservation. So this way, if you have questions about anything, you can always reference here. We have checklists, downloads, videos on how to do things, all kinds of information. Anything that you didn't know how to do, it will be up here. Now, given all that, Brian and Mary, what are we going to talk about today?
Are we starting out with? Okay.
Yes.
So along with the school site, this was just recently added. I know we had talked about it a little bit before, but right on our school site, we have now started our Amazon storefront, which this is a big deal and this is great. When you click on the link, it takes you straight to Amazon and it will show you all of the everyday daily things that we use. This goes from lock boxes to the tape, whiteboards. Whiteboards are great when you do your trash outs. You have to mark your trailers, your empty trailers, your quarter trailers, half trailers, 3/4 trailers, because as we all know from watching this, pictures, 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 the more we have, the better. Now, this is one that I did want right under the whiteboards. We have our little folders. This is great when you have multiple clients out in the field. I know there is a lot of equipment, a lot of tools, a lot of things to do. Paperwork. We have to post paperwork all the time. You have multiple clients, you can separate your paperwork. This really comes in handy with organization for our guys. We throw in our Sharpies, our paperwork, everything that you need for on site can go straight in that folder. It is a very handy tool and we use that all the time. Some of our clients use the 4-digit combination locks. We have our safety gear. We have our earplugs, safety glasses, vests. noise canceling earphones for when you're mowing. And then this is also a great little tool that we use. This is the brush for the drill. Nobody wants to get anywhere close to half of these toilets that we do. So this is a wonderful way that we have found. It's great to clean toilets. You know, you can use the flat ones to do your sales cleans and stuff. We will be adding stuff to this. This was just a quick things that we use all the time. I also do want to mention with our Amazon storefront, we do also buy a couple things off of Temu. Um, Smoke detectors, carbon detectors, and we do get some of our lock boxes as well. You can usually get some pretty good deals on Temu for those. So check out our Amazon storefront. We got a lot of great stuff on there, a lot of great deals. So yeah, we're pretty excited to have that up and running now.
And just to break in here real quick, we don't like this doesn't go to us. This goes right to Amazon, but you're actually when you buy stuff through our link here, you're actually helping support us. We make I don't know, I think 4 or 5% off some of the sales and everything. So if you go there and buy your stuff that way through the link, then you'll be helping support the show and everything.
You know, one thing I wanted to jump in here real quick on is we have spent a lot of time in this industry trying to find the cheapest price. Alan, if you want to bring that Amazon page back up, here's a perfect example. Our prices are set from pre-pandemic 2016 when gas was $1.50 a gallon, you know, and unfortunately the prices don't change. I know we all would love for, you know, us to get paid what standard contractors get paid, but it doesn't work that way. And we can go deeper into that discussion on why this business is still so very lucrative and why it is such a profitable business if you know where to get it. So scroll up, please, for a second, Alan, and you'll see very clearly. Here's a great item is moisture. Those moisture absorber buckets. If you go to the box stores, you're paying 12 to 13 bucks. Now they pay, I think, what, 20 a piece, Mary, after discount?
Not always.
Okay, very true.
It depends on the client. Sometimes they pay 15 if you're lucky.
So still, if you're getting Alan, open that up for me so we can see the price on Amazon, please. So if you're getting paid 15 bucks to do something and you're going to the box stores and you're spending $12 to $13, there's no money. Here, we've researched it. We found it. I think, Mary, you spent an entire day scouring the internet for a cheap price.
Yes.
Because our clients require the 2-pound buckets. Well, there you go. Here's a very simple solution. You're paying $6 for those each. Yep. So now you've taken a job that is, you know, through our due diligence. And a lot of people, when we tell these people about this stuff's on Amazon, they're blown away. It's like, that's great. Now I can actually make some money. Mm-hmm. So if you're getting paid 15 bucks a piece, you're paying $6. Yeah, you're not making a lot, but you're also making more than if you would go to a box store. Same thing with lock boxes. Lock boxes have always plagued the system. They pay 20 bucks to 15 bucks. And you're paying $12, $13 for them now. Mm-hmm. And here's on Amazon. I mean, you're paying 4 of them for $38. But example, you go to Temu. We love our Temu. I think they're $4 a piece, $4.95.
Yeah, it ranges. And that's the thing about lock boxes, because if you do a lock box with any kind of other service, so when you go for an initial secure, they only pay $20 for a lock box and then take the discount. So technically, You're only getting paid $15 if you're doing a lock box with other services.
So if you go to a house at minimum just to change the lock box because it's missing, we all love those. At least getting them off of Temu, you know, you're paying $4 or $5 for them. At least you're kind of making money. But again, remember, go into the job to find the work. Take the opportunity of the lockbox replacement that, you know, doesn't even pay for the gas. Use that as your opportunity to go into the property. You know, we have done jobs where we have gotten the property afterwards and we've started making $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 off of that property because of a lockbox missing. It all depends on how you go into it, you know. So, but again, these are the common day products we use every day. Actually, I just got my shipment of my moisture absorbers in, so I'll be putting those on the inventory shelf for our office down here in the Adams County area. But again, it gets into, we have done the research to find the best price possible for the products that work, and we try to pass that along, again, to help all of our people in our industry that didn't know, to try to make money, save money, and that's the purpose of this, is to try to make your business more successful by our tips, by our secrets, by our inventory lists, you know.
We had a question about the link. So if you go to our website, put that up here. I'm sure everybody knows what it is already. propertypricesinsiders.com. And then you just scroll down up here at the top, the latest video. Here's our link to the school site. And here's the supplies section. And so you just click on that. It takes you to the page. And from there, selling this stuff that goes right to Amazon then.
Now, also with that, Mary, we got a couple more suppliers to talk about real quick.
Yes. So Amazon is where we get our everyday common stuff. Now for locks, and we do usually get our hose caps and stuff like that because hose caps are cheaper. We also work with US Hardware, MFS Supply, and Home Guard. The only thing with these sites, though, is you do have to spend a certain amount, so you don't have to pay for shipping. So it depends on what your inventory is, how much you need. But those are the 3 best places to get all of your locks, and they have all HUD-approved locks, no matter what the code is. Also, another perk for signing up with our school site, if you are a member of our school site, we have discount codes for all 3 of these suppliers, and you will get a discount when you make your orders for your locks.
Because in our industry, every dollar counts.
Yes, it does.
And that's the whole thing. And we can go in deeper in depth as far as locks go. You know, a lot of times we will have a class on our school site which talks about repinning and rekeying our locks. So that's another great skill to have. So a lot of great things are coming online. Hopefully within the next week or so, we'll be having a lot more modulars. We've been working very diligently to get the information up there. But the key thing is with the school site, now, of course, not to your local laws. You have to figure those out, find out your local stuff. But we try to facilitate you through the entire process. So you could literally start with some equipment, which will tell you what you need. You go through the training course, you get your certificate. We help you establish work. We help you obtain work from, again, a U.S. regional company, and not just mine, but we have several friends in the industry that we have worked with for years and we trust that are located all over the country. And we try to facilitate, if the availability is there in your current area, to get you the workloads to keep you busy. So not only do we tell you what you need, we help you set the business up in a sense of some training of the basics that you need with your insurance, your licensing, basic stuff. But again, remember your state laws, your state requirements, we don't know about. You got to work that out. But we kind of go through the whole process from start to finish. So we help you start the business, give you the advice you need, the supplies you need, the tools you need. Then we start showing you how to do your grass cuts, how to do your window boardings, how to do the initial secures, how to determine your occupancy. You know, we help train you through the process also. And then again, we help you get that work also. And also to stay away from certain companies too that are offshore, that are bad. So like I say, it is all about that community to make an internal change inside of our industry to help bring new people on. And again, to help us with development of that community. All support is welcome and grateful. Even if it's just a simple share or a like on the video, everything helps us as we try to build our community and move forward with changing our industry as a whole. So with moving on to that, let's talk about the bid process. We've had several questions about bids and how technical difficulty. Okay. We had questions about bids, how do they work, et cetera, et cetera. So the first thing, whenever you get into a property, regardless of whether it's a bid request, an EOB request, a inspection, if it's a lock change, if it's a lock box, if it's putting a hose cap on that doesn't pay anything, always go into the property expecting to make money. Where are you going to find it? Now, just like with River House, if you watched all of those episodes, you saw the laundry lists of work that we bidded for the property. And we didn't get some of those bid approvals, and that's okay. But through the lifespan of that property, which was a little bit less than a year, we made a little bit over $10,000 worth of bid approvals to that property. And again, the name of the game is that you have 1,000 of those properties moving around, and that's how you generate your income. But every time the crews would go there, to include myself, we go in with the aspect of what can I find today and let the bank know what needs to be done. Number one, remember, you are the eyes, the ears, and the nose of your client at that property. Does the house smell? Does the house reek of feces, sewer gas? Is there a gas smell? Is there a smoke, fire smell, whatever? We need to relay that information back through our bids. The carpets are stained with feces. They need to be removed. Example, things like that. So once you take your pictures, use your whiteboard or piece of paper, you kind of write up what needs to be done to the property. You go in and submit your bids. Now, we use third-party processing service. They take care of all of our bid processes for us. They take care of all the pricing for us. They are experienced with what we can get for the industry. Now, also remember, our industry is set. So Bob the contractor Bob the plumber is going to charge $450 to do a winterization to this property. The banks, the clients, the HUD, no one's going to pay that. It's not going to happen. They're just going to reject your bid and then move on to somebody else who's more adverse on the pricing matrix of our system. But the point being is that you need to bid within the parameters set forth inside of our industry, which is the M&M HUD sheet, which was 2016, recently revised on a couple items, which we discussed on the previous shows. And the other thing is utilizing the proper bid software, which is pretty much Xactimate and RepairBase. There is one more, but it's too cheap to use. We use RepairBase in our systems. But once we take the proper photographs, and photographs are so important because of liability and chargebacks, which we're going to get to in a second. But once you take full pictures of the property in the same format that, we will train you to do, your bid writers or you will write the bids necessary utilizing the price formats that is set forth, and then you submit it to your client. The client will then review your bid, check Xactimate, check RepairBase, check their softwares for your price points. Sometimes they'll contact you and be like, hey, this is too expensive. Will you do this? Or sometimes they will just ship the bid up, and then when the approval comes back, then they'll bug you with it. It happens. But once your client sends that bid up, it sends it to their client, which could be a very number of asset management companies, HUD Direct, FHA, VA, or several other acronyms in the government agency. And then basically they go through their process and they determine whether that bid approval needs to be done or not based on standard ICC conditions. Okay. It's going to get deep here, so stay with me. So once they determine what they're going to pay for, whether it be an emergency or where they're at, then they will release the bid approval with the proper amount of money they're willing to pay. And then it trickles back down the line and ends up as a work order for you. The key thing that I recommend is you find a bidding service. I have spent lifetimes in front of my computer late at night after working 12 hours a day going through and trying to pick out bids. Is it worth $5? If you have a professional bid writing service, take care of your processing. Number one, they work 24/7. Your work order will be up before it turns late, because sometimes you only get like 3 days to do some of these things. And sometimes, you get home at 7 o'clock at night because you had a long day. And next thing you know, you've got to spend the next 5 hours writing bids. And if you mess that up, then it's all on you. The liability is all on you. chargebacks, and your liabilities. So I recommend, again, finding a good quality processing service you can work with and hire them. They bill you every week. They bill you every 2 weeks. They bill you once a month for the work they have performed. But how much more can you get by letting a professional bid the service? So always keep that in mind, because when you can perfect your picture taking abilities, it gives them the tools through your notes, through pointing, through your pictures. It gives them the tool to write you great bids to get you those great approvals back. And I can tell you facts that when we were doing our own bid writing and then we hired a bid writing company, our numbers went up because they picked apart everything they could and they made us a lot of money. Now, we've had to go through a couple bad apples before we found our great one, which will happen. But again, just be aware, be advised. This is definitely something that you want to do. And that's kind of how the process works. That's why it takes like 30 days to get an approval. One other thing, too, while we're on this topic, is bid after the fact. I don't like bid after the facts too much because you've already done the work and now you have to kind of negotiate to get what you think it's worth. So always make sure if you're going to do it, you're going to do the allowables, you're going to do bid after the fact. Make sure, number one, your client is trusted. And number two, make sure you know your allowables. Make sure you know what, how much, and what you can get paid. We did a grass cut recently. The grass was 70 inches tall. It was not fun. It was not fun at all, but we did it. And it was using an emergency allowable. And we're still kind of fighting to deal with it, to get the invoice finalized and getting paid. So again, be cautious, be careful. So just make sure you know what you got going on. So let's talk about chargebacks and liability. I can go through a couple different stories and tell you about some of the chargeback issues we had. Recently, we haven't had any. We've had like one job like 4 years ago that we got hit on. It was like a $700 chargeback for a window. But anyway, it is very important that you cover your butt when you're out in the field. Make sure that when you are taking photographs of a property, that they are clear, they are framed properly. Example, if I want to show the house, I don't need that much of the sky in my picture. I need to frame it properly, make sure it's not blurry, and make sure I take every wall, every aspect of the property and find out what's wrong. Regardless of how small it is or how large it is, the point is you're covering your butt for liability purposes, so they can't come back and say it's your fault that you didn't report this damage. And the same point, everything is covered into a property. All the angles, all the surfaces are covered, the closets, the ceilings, the floors. So that way you can report what's wrong, and also they can't come back to you and say, well, you didn't take a photograph of this, it's your fault. 95% of the time when these things happen is during conveyance process. So when you see an ICC conveyance bid, pay extra attention to that one to make sure the cabinet doors are open. You're taking pictures, the refrigerator door, open the closets, take pictures, 3 pictures, floor, wall, ceiling of the closets to ensure that you are gathering all the photographs necessary for all the bids. They are trying to convey the property from the bank's books, shall we say, to HUD conveyance or to HUD. Now, again, remember, if it is a FHA loan, they're going to convey back to FHA. If it's a HUD loan, it's going to convey back to HUD. So the way the loans work, by the way, the government buys a lot of the loans that are out there. You might go to your local branch, your local bank, apply for the mortgage. They're going to give you the mortgage, and you pay them. The thing is that before you even sign the documents, the bank has already gone to FHA, VA, HUD, well, VA if you're a veteran, but they go to the government agencies to underwrite or to back the loan. So when you default on the loan, okay, and it goes into a pre-foreclosure, foreclosure status, the bank wants to convey that property back into HUD control So it's off of their books, it's off of their liability, it's off of their positioning, and then HUD can do what they got to do to sell it, so on and so forth. Sometimes the banks move a lot quicker. They don't even do an initial secure. They basically sell the property at an auction so that way they can get rid of it. And then, the government agencies are paid back. So again, whenever you get your ICCs, whenever you go do your grass cuts, whenever you go do your inspections, whenever you go do a simple lock change or a hose cap, go into the property thinking, I'm going to make $20,000 off of this property, because you can. We do. And you can too. Photographs, notes, bids. Make sure you're thorough. Perfect quick example. We did a house. The house was already trashed out 2 years prior. We go through. There's a freezer in the basement. And no one ever opened it. No one ever bid to clean it. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. We did. It was a nasty, disgusting freezer. Power's been off for probably 4 or 5 years. The house was kind of nasty to begin with. But again, we got $1,000 to go in, put our little zoot suits on, put our respirators on, and get the job done. But it made us $1,000. So everybody else that went through that property said, I don't need to make $1,000 today. Well, actually, I don't need to make $1,000 in 2 hours. I like making $500 an hour. So we bid it. And we got instantaneous approval to go back and deal with the situation. But it's the point is that it's our job to protect and preserve that property. PMP, protect and preserve. We are there for our neighbors. We are there for our clients to take care of our properties, to make sure they're clean, to make sure we report what's going on to the property, make sure that we bid everything we can so that way we make money. And that's the key thing. If you don't bid, you're not going to get anything out of it. So, but moving on to a fun story. So that's a little bit about bids and liabilities and chargebacks. As long as you're thorough, as long as you take the right photographs, as long as you write your bids, and you do the jobs properly, which we got a fun photo of a job we found. As long as you take care of your clients will take care of you. They will give you some options on dealing with things before, kind of the skies start falling. So, but again, pictures, and more pictures. If you didn't think you took enough, take some more. So moving on, we have a posting from our school site, and I got an update of 2 of our contractors. So Muhammad, completed my first grass cut today, took before and afters photos. I made a couple of mistakes, but overall it was a great experience. That is great news. The biggest thing is, remember, covering every aspect of that yard. You want 16 photos before, and brother, you didn't say nothing about your durings. I hope you took them too. But you want your 16 befores. You want to take your 8 pictures during and your 16 afters. And remember, check your shrubs, your trees, check for windows, anything broken, any debris in the way, anything that we could bid for, bid. Just because it's a grass cut doesn't mean the shrubs doesn't need to be trimmed. Doesn't mean that the gutters aren't full from the last storm that just came by and it dumped a bunch of leaves on. Bid. That's the important thing, regardless of any grass cuts. And remember, 2 inches. That's where our grass cut goes. So we do have some updates from, if you've been following the show, from Ray and Anthony, our 2 contractors. Ray was a diesel mechanic out of Texas, and Anthony decided him and his wife wanted to start a preservation business based off of us. Got reports back that Ray has received his first set of work orders and is working with one of our regional clients down in Texas, getting things done, getting things taken care of. So Ray, if you're watching, congratulations, buddy. I hope this is a long, happy decision for you. And if you do anything, please reach out to us. And please join the school site once we get it up and running. We'll get some training going. Anthony has gotten back to us. We've given the information off to Anthony, to our regionals. down in his vicinity. That he'll be working with them, getting them trained and helping out one of our regional friends in that area. And Anthony, again, once we get the school site, get online, get signed up, and get those classes under your belt. We'll give you that certificate, and we'll turn some more work on for you also. And that's the key thing of this community. We help train you, whether you're a seasoned veteran, we're going to teach you new tricks. But better yet, if you're that seasoned veteran and you see that you have a better way, reach out to us. Old dogs always learn new tricks, and I'm always love learning new things from our friends in the industry. Sign up, get the training done, get the certificates, get the discount codes, get member-only, very specific phone calls, Zoom meetings. We're going to talk about any issues that we can, as a group, help each other with, And also, as part of the membership, once you pass the test and getting your certificate, we help get you work. We help train you. We help supply the work necessary. And we help you with the bid writing. We help you with all of this stuff to help your business grow. And that is the premise. That is the purpose of this entire endeavor. Because I get so sick and tired of hearing the contractors that got screwed over by the offshore. I'm tired of hearing the chargebacks happen or the issues happen. They didn't get paid because they didn't do the job right. They didn't take the right photographs. They didn't do it properly. And also, I'm tired of going to houses and cleaning up messes from contractors. So like I say, if we can change the industry as a whole internally, the better it is for the entire industry. So we have a funny little story. Alan, you want to bring this one up? So it seems to be the banks are moving kind of quick on getting them properties sold and off the books. Mary, I'll let you take this one for a second. Oh, can't hear you, Mary.
Can you hear me now? All right, here we go. So normally when a house goes into foreclosure, there's a set of steps that you go through. The first step is usually an initial secure. You go in, you check out the house, you secure it, you change the locks. Apparently, this was never done on this home, and the bank ended up selling the house. And when the new owner came in to start cleaning out his new property and, turn it into a home, the previous homeowner was in the house, deceased in his bed.
They were not wasting any time on this one, let me tell you.
No, they were not.
So, yeah, this has happened a few times. Some stories that we've had in our local area, people have deceased, but we've never actually came in on an actual body. We've seen the aftermaths of suicide, of accidental deaths, of natural causes. We've seen the after effects of some of those from which we've talked about before in previous episodes. But yeah, I've had a few stories like towards Philadelphia area where there was an elderly lady that passed away in the bathtub. Yeah, she was there for a while, unfortunately, and the preservation contractor came in on it. So it is kind of interesting. Now, why do you think the bank is moving so quickly on some of these items? As you said, initial secure wasn't done. Occupancy checks wasn't done. Was this like a reverse mortgage situation? You need a death certificate for that. And obviously they never had that.
Yeah, because most clients, before you even go in to do your initial secure, they have an inspector come out to do a vacancy, to confirm vacancy. And then they usually post, vacancy postings, stickers, and apparently none of that was done on this property.
Apparently, if you read here, his brother hasn't spoken to him in 2 or 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So it had to be at least 2 or 3 months before.
Wow.
He said in there.
Yeah.
And you think about that for a minute. What happens to a body for 2 or 3 months, regardless of the external conditions? What happens to that body, and what did that look like? And again, not to make light of a person's life passing away, but how much work did the owner of that property now have to deal with the biohazards, the decontamination, et cetera, et cetera?
Yep.
There was a house locally to us, which is kind of funny because it's a duplex. So one house was being foreclosed on. The owner was upset that he was losing the house. He was pissed off at life. He was pissed off at the bank. So this horrible human being, and I wish they caught him. Hopefully they did. But he literally went out and found every cat, stray cat, SPCA cat, every Facebook, Craigslist cat he could get. And he put him in this house with large, the blue kiddie pools filled with food, water, and litter. Then he left. It takes a year plus for us to come in as a preservation contractor to a property. So when they actually finally came into the house, every one of those 150 to 200 cats have died in the house. And the house was so bad that literally they had the guy who was flipping the house had to strip all the walls down, remove all the insulation, remove all the floor coverings, subfloor coverings, take it down all the structural studs. Then he had to heat treat the house, where basically they get very hot heaters and they blow hot air into the house and raise the temperature of the house up to 100 and something degrees. And that kills all the bacteria. Then they had to coat and seal all the wood products. Then they started the rebuild. So again, it gets into like what that person had to do to deal with that kind of a situation, with that kind of carnage. In the same position here, we've been to a few properties where people have passed away and the bodies have decomposed. That creates a whole other element of contamination, of safety risks, of safety hazards, things to be aware of in our industry, and making sure you always have the proper safety gear with you, masks, our zoot suits, as we call them, the white protective suits, gloves, et cetera, et cetera. So always be aware and always be prepared for everything, because you never know what you're going to find from day to day when you go back into these properties. We were at a property once. The property was already secured. Everything was fine. Everything was hunky-dory. And we've been going there for over 6 months, 7 months. We show up. Power's turned on, things are happening, and next thing you know, there's a squatter in the house trying to claim the house. Never go in expecting the same thing day after day. Keeps the industry fun and exciting, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of talk a little bit, because it's been more and more in the news about what is going on in our housing market today. Some of this stuff is raising red flags. Some of this is damage control. Some of this are blatant lies. So again, take all the information you're receiving and look at the numbers and kind of judge for yourself what's going on. And we'll give our opinions too. So Alan, you want to fire away with this?
This is from Business Insider. It talks about a well-known economist, David Rosenberg. I guess he's I don't remember exactly his credentials, but he talks about how they are afraid that with the economy the way it's going in the housing market, that we're going to hit another 2008 housing crash.
So we've heard about this a lot, and this is one of those things. I don't think we're at the numbers of the 08 crash. We're kind of leading into those things. And I think if things aren't kind of turned around and things happen, I think we could end up with a hit. Currently, as of right now, the last numbers were 228,000 foreclosures in the United States. Now, sure, that seems like a lot of properties, but that actually is kind of average. People lose jobs, divorce happens, people pass away. There's always going to be foreclosures in the country. And that's one of those beautiful parts about this industry, is there's always work available. Now, certain areas are hotter than other areas. Certain areas, there are more people, there's more population. So, of course, there's going to be more foreclosures. Certain counties are more volatile. a company might close down. That causes a lot of job loss. That causes drama. So again, but there's always foreclosures around, period. Depends on how much coverage you need to do. But during the 2008 crash, there was like a million plus foreclosures going on. So I don't think we're at that 2008 level at this stage. I'm not saying it can't be, but there needs to be a lot more when you're talking about that kind of numbers. And remember, when the 2008 crash happened, that initially started with overpriced house or deregulations, overpriced housing. Your prices, you basically got into a bidding war when you were buying and selling, or when you were buying these houses. You always got into a bidding war, kept driving the prices up. And then once this house sold for $600,000, everybody else in the neighborhood started selling, and now they're selling for $615,000, and then $700,000. So again, that's how it all happens. It starts in that bidding war, and the banks want to give the loans out because that's how they make money. And it's, again, since HUD, FHA, VA are backing the loans anyway, the banks just underwrite it and move on. And then again, you had the entire deregulation of the system. And remember, that's actually what's going on right now. HUD and FHA revised their loan requirements. They brought down the credit score. They brought down the down payment. So are we kind of seeing some of that? Don't know. So kind of see where that leads into. But continue on, Al. What else we got?
We have several videos here talking about the housing market. Let me try that again here.
We may be heading for a housing market crash, and nobody's really telling you much about it. I'm Rick. I'm the voice that brings Wall Street to Main Street so you understand what's going on with your money and you can act accordingly. So make sure you follow this page. And most people think that the housing market is fine because prices are still high. But Peter Schiff just warned about something that may say otherwise. Peter Schiff predicted the housing market crash in 2008 when everybody told him he was wrong. Well, guess what? He was right. And now he's saying it again with his exact words being, people are going to walk away and mail in their keys because they can't sell their home for more than what they owe. That's a housing emergency, and here's why he thinks it's coming. Home prices just hit an all-time high, and median prices are at a record high as of July of this month. All while that's happening, the U.S. is still short 4 million homes while these prices continue to rise. And while all that's going on, foreclosures rose 21% last year and they're up 30% in the past 2 years. So new buyers can't get in, and people who already bought are now stuck because they can't sell. Now here's what this means, and here's what you can do exactly. We know that the housing market is being held together by people who are trapped, not by people that are thriving. And what that means is when those people can no longer afford to hold on, the defaults are going to start. Now, what you can do is, if you're thinking about buying right now, understand what you're walking into, because this isn't 2008 exactly. The lending standards are a whole lot tighter, but the affordability crisis is very much real. So the people who understand what was happening in 2007 made a very different decision than those people that didn't. So in 2007, everybody said that the housing market was fine, but Peter Schiff said otherwise, and he ended up being right. Now, if you drop the word newsletter in my comments, I have a free weekly newsletter that I can send to you that keeps you up to date with what's going on with the markets and your money so you can stay ahead of the news. But I want to hear from you. Do you think that Peter Schiff is right, that a housing market crash is coming? Or do you think that the shortage of houses is going to keep prices from ever falling? Let me know in the comments.
And Peter Schiff's a pretty big economist. Now he's a little naysayer a lot of times on the economy, but there has been several times that he's been right on the money. So it's kind of scary.
And that's one thing too that was being discussed is you have a shortage, but you have overpricing. So let's move on to the next one.
Hey, it's Joe from Georgia. An article coming out from Redfin, the real estate giant. Folks, they don't have any good news for the housing market. As a matter of fact, they're saying that there's going to be some markets that might have a 50% price drop, calling it worse than 2008. And if you were around in 2008, you'll know it was horrible. But folks, we have the least amount of home buyers than we have ever had in decades. And the way homes are selling is the slowest in the last 14 years. So folks, we've got slower growth. You've got mortgage rates that are out the yin yang, and that's another reason that the market is the way it is. Because, for example, for myself, my mortgage rate is a 2.25% interest. Now, I refinanced to get that. I originally bought this at 4.5. I'm at, you get to 2.25. I'm not selling my home at all. I'm not doing that for, you got to understand, 2.25%, almost nothing. But that's not happening anytime soon because of the strategy that the American government's doing with us. They don't want to have affordable housing. Remember,
he talks about Redfin in there, but he also talks about the other article I read was about Zillow is saying almost the exact same thing.
So as prices are falling right now, I'm finding it increasingly more difficult to find a seller who's willing to sell their property for what the market price is. So the market right now, again, we've been through this a couple times, but the bid to ask spread is widening. What a seller wants and what a buyer wants to pay, that spread has widened again. And a very common issue right now is a lot of the listings that my buyers are writing offers on, the seller cannot sell the property at the market value or slightly below them. We're trying to get a deal too, but roughly that should be the price that it should sell for, and the sellers can't take it. Why can't they take it? Because they wouldn't be able to close the sale. All the equity's gone. They have no other cash to close this sale, so they literally can't sell it. We are seeing way more foreclosures right now, and when I'm seeing this in the market, it tells me there's going to be even more next year. I'm pulling the title on these properties. There's 2 or 3 mortgages on them. They paid $600,000 in 2023. It's worth around $5. So it's basically lick your wounds now, or the bank takes it later.
We may be headed.
And that was a real estate guy. He sells houses regularly. And so that gives you an idea. He's right in the industry, right in the market. So.
Warning. 718,000 bankruptcies just in July 2026 in the United States. Over 54,000. Let's get into it and let's talk about how the economy is making bankruptcy skyrocket. People cannot pay their bills. Home foreclosures are up 21%. Auto repossessions are up 30%. Over 9 million student loan delinquencies. These bankruptcies are a 10% increase just from last month in June 2025. How much higher is July 2026 than July 2025? Personal bankruptcy is up 11% higher than 2025. Small business bankruptcy up 8%. If you did not know, small business makes up 98% of the businesses in the USA. It's not large corporation. We are trending up every single month, double digits in increases in personal bankruptcy, small business bankruptcy, farm bankruptcies. That means the economy is collapsing every single day. People cannot pay their bills because groceries are up 50%. Gas is up 37%. Tariffs and extra tax on Americans are contributing thousands of dollars increase in what you buy every single month. Buckle up.
And that lady talks about, teaches wealth strategies and things like that on TikTok. But so what does that mean for the property preservation industry? Yeah, and there might be more foreclosures happening and a lot more work. But is there like an indirect or a direct calls or not calls? I'm sorry, I can't think of the word. How would this affect the industry in general?
All right. So let's talk about that for a minute. I pull that video down. There we go. So basically, a lot of that information, without the hype, is very true. Foreclosures are up, but not enough as it was in '08. But they are up year over year. But also, kind of after, in the past 2 years, we've declined from the COVID aspect to more stabilized numbers. But what was said was very true, because if you have a lot of shortage because people aren't moving their mortgages because they got locked into that 2.5% rate, they're not going to sell whatsoever. They're going to be there forever. You have these people that paid $600,000 or $500,000 for a house, and now because people aren't paying that anymore, the prices are starting to drive, those people are underwater. This is the same criteria that happened to '08, where people just surrendered their properties. But one thing you got to remember is, if you bought your house a year ago and you paid $400,000 for it, the housing market might be dropping, but I guarantee you the housing market will be right back up there in several years. So just because you're underwater, you're only underwater if you're trying to sell it or you're trying to refinance it. So bear in mind that. The other big thing is, again, the housing market it all goes in swoops and hills and valleys. It's just the way the market goes. The thing that concerns me the most is the cost of goods due to inflation aspects, the default on credit cards and auto loans. Again, auto loans were one of those things that people bought that $100,000 vehicle. It's a vehicle. It's on the road, But then again, that adds to increased maintenance costs. That increases, your insurance costs and the cost of the loan program. So again, people are getting strapped. People are getting to the point that one small hiccup of life is a total collapse of everything. Once again, do I believe that there's going to be a global financial crisis because of this? I don't think it's going to be that bad. I do believe the housing market needs to kind of have a little bit of a painful reset and a little bit of a common sense approach to it. But the thing with the business is it's always around. In a great year or a slow year, a few years ago when HUD was selling off everything they possibly could, a lot of flippers were buying stuff. We were getting fast approvals. We were getting money. It was getting made. Now we're doing a lot more initial secures. Now we're more into the maintenance aspect. And, when these properties come up for sheriff's sale, yeah, they're getting liquidated quicker because that's the cheapest house on the market, shall we say. But even flippers are starting to have drama because the banks realize that they're kind of getting stuck in this position where they loaned out $500,000 for a house, but every nice house in that neighborhood is now worth $3 million. So the bank has to kind of, and again, that's where you get the bank bailouts and too big to fail thing too. But there's always work, beyond the small business. Again, this is not a restaurant. If you can't afford to go out and grab a pizza, you're not going to. You're going to make it at home, because your pizza you bought at the box store got $2 more expensive. It's still cheaper than going out. Well, then those restaurants fail. The movie theaters, the auto shops, people just learn how to do it themselves. The boutique shops, clothing stores, they figure out how to buy it cheaper through Amazon or through other places. But the foreclosure industry has to happen. By meaning of the banks need someone, period, to maintain that property. So that way, number one, the code enforcement doesn't get on them. Number two, the house doesn't fall apart and disintegrate into nothingness or get, developed and overgrown like a jungle. The bank needs contractors to preserve that asset that it loaned money against as it goes through the process of dealing with the situation. Again, we are going to get busier and busier and busier. That's all I got to say. And again, this is why we're going to see a lot of the small contractors, the handyman, the landscaping companies. They're going to be running out of work. So again, can we help turn them into this industry? Can we help train them into this industry to start another aspect of their business? Possibly. And again, that gets into why we're doing all this, why we're trying to create this community. So when this upcoming hit happens, I don't want to say crash. let's say hit, when it actually does come about, we have good quality people there to handle the workload as it comes down. I do believe that over the next 2 years, we're going to get extremely busy. I do believe there's going to be an impact in the industry. I do believe there's going to be an uptick. I do believe foreclosures are going to rise. I don't see the numbers right now at the level of 08. I do not see the deregulation as 08. But what I do see is the credit card debt is skyrocketing. There is a lot of defaults on credit card debt. There's a lot of defaults on car loans and auto loans because people just can't afford them anymore. But once those things kind of happen, the housing market is always the last step to take the brunt of it. So again, I do see a lot more foreclosures coming up in the industry. I don't see the 1.2 million that we had in 08 and 09. So, but again, you never know. You never know. This could be the ramp going onto the interstate of disaster. This could be the foretelling signs that if we don't make severe impact or we don't make severe changes inside of the government doesn't make severe changes as necessary in the financial department, yeah, we could end up with something big. But I hate to say this, but it is very true. I'm just going to make a lot of money. You know what I mean? So please join in, get your piece of it, and let's get something started. So, but we'll definitely see what happens over the next year or so on the housing market. Because the other big thing too, which none of those mentioned, July and August. July is like the last kind of great month to sell a house. Because you think about it, people have been looking from the beginning. We're going to move to this city, whatever. I want to move, but we've got kids in school. So, they try to move during the summertime and summer's over, So that's another big thing is the kind of the creme brulee of housing market for selling is over. Not a lot of people like to move in December. Not a lot of people move during the holidays and things like that. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but the majority of people move during the summertime just for the kids' school and everything else. So again, definitely things to think about. If housing can't get sold because they're locked, what happens? Those houses eventually, yes, they'll go into straight default. People will move out and the banks will take over those properties. But then you also have those points where sellers can't sell. So they just are stuck there. They'll just stay there, which then increases the movement or inventory of housing. But again, you have a lot of home builders, which we'll kind of talk about too next week, where the home builders are now starting to pull back. The home buyers are, okay, we want $600,000 for this house, but we're going to pay down 2 points of interest on your mortgage to make it more affordable. Because obviously the builders have a lot of profit that they can build into their sales prices also. So again, definitely some things to think about on, the business that you currently have. Are you interested in getting into this industry or are you already in this industry? Again, I feel we are going to get very busy very soon. And we'll see what happens.
Well, that said, I wanted to go over the school site a little bit here, just in case anyone missed anything here. There we go. And what Brian was saying right here, this $10,000 to $75,000 a month, I looked it up. I don't want to go into any hard numbers, but Brian, $10,000, $75,000 a month, is that realistic?
Well, let's put it this way. When I was running by myself, I was making over 10 a month. And that was years ago.
So if you go to our school site and you can go to the website right here, it's right here in the middle. You can go here. We are very close to having a lot more modules and training done. And that will go over everything. Like we're doing very specific, kind of like bite-sized modules. So you can just find your specific job you're looking for, look up that information, maybe download the cheat sheet to take with you on the job. You'll find what tools you need. And we go over step-by-step procedure. Plus, the That's going to be important. The classroom part is important, but I think the more important part is that you'll have, like right now we have 30 members, 30 people that know about or are interested in the property preservation business. You have other people there. You have us. We'll be there to answer questions, share links, news stories, things like that. But you have people there. I'm here all the time. I see other people on all the time. You'll have people here all the time. You can go to maybe ask a question. Just the other day, this is where we got the message from Muhammad. See, I was posting pictures, and he posted up there how he did stuff. There's other questions and comments throughout the thing. This gives you a place to share your comments, to share your questions. Plus, then very soon, beginning next month, sometime, we'll be doing live weekly questions and answers, or live weekly calls where you can get on the link and listen to and share your information. We'll have a place where you can post your questions or go over all that stuff on the Zoom calls. Every week we'll be doing that besides the show. So this is going to be much more personalized. So you can get directly in contact with us. This is not like you watching TV. This is where you can interact with us and ask your questions and get your information. And then also, if you need supplies, right here is our Amazon link to all the products we use on Amazon. And I will find the links for the Temu stuff they talked about, and I will put them up, but it will only be available on the school site. So if you want to see where those are at, you have to sign up. And then right now it's free. You still have 7-8 days before the end of the month before it's actually it's $5. So sign up now. But here's all our stuff that these guys use regularly. Like I see earplugs over at Brian's house all the time. And the glasses. I think one day you showed me a whole box full of safety glasses and asked me if I wanted some. So these guys use this every day, all the time. So this is not like we just grabbed a bunch of stuff. This is stuff that they use regularly. But we'd like to thank you for joining us today. And please like the video and subscribe to our channel if you like our videos. If you have any questions, please share them in the comments or on the school site. And we do have a Facebook page you can go to. So share all your information there. Go to our website at propertypresinsiders.com for more about the show. There's clips up there. There's all the links to our social media. Oh, thank you for signing up. I'll go ahead.
Yeah, I saw that. Thank you very much for signing up. One thing I want to bring forth is this. I am not some internet mogul who's never done this. I'm not teaching you something that I read in a book somewhere. I am not sharing these experiences because I heard it on a TikTok somewhere. Tomorrow morning, I am leaving with my crew here, the other office we have. We're all heading out to a trash out. We're going to drive some trailers around and remove 200 cubic yards of material. Then I'll be heading north to my second office, and we'll be doing several large jobs at a property. I'm helping out that office, getting that situated. The point is that I'm in the field. This is my life. This is my business. This is what we do. I live it. I clean them nasty toilets. I clean them nasty refrigerators. And I've learned through the years that this industry needs help. This industry needs training. There's nowhere else of the level that we're trying to establish here. And we are growing. We are working through this. We thank every one of you for joining us on Sunday or watching us on our YouTube channel or repost. Thank every one of you for spending time. We hope we intrigue you a little bit to this is something I could get into. Because this industry has so many facets that you can do. You don't have to be able to demo a house or fill in a pool. You can cut grass. You can do inspections. If you're a roofer, if you're a roofer or a plumber, you could add this into your portfolio. It does not require a large education. It doesn't require, being a master contractor for 20 years to be able to access this business. When I started in this industry, basically a friend of mine who was my mentor a long time ago started a company in Virginia, and he basically removed people's debris, stuff they didn't want. We all know we all see the signs, unwanted junk, So he turned it into a business. I followed suit. And then I found out that, hey, banks need trash outs done. And that's how I got started. And then, with my handyman experience, with my basic construction knowledge, formed into this industry hard and heavy. So the point I'm getting at is that I was not a master carpenter for 30 years. I was not a master plumber for 50 years, You start small, cover your territory, sign up with the right companies, get trained, get the knowledge you need. Because what we're trying to do is we are trying to take the 15 years that's locked up here, put it on your screen, so that way you can take advantage of all of the mistakes that we have made and learn from. We get to compile that into a short segment, and we show you how to do a window boarding, the tools you need to do a window boarding, what pictures you need to take to do a window boarding. We go through a house very shortly. We're going to go through a house, and we're going to basically pick a foreclosure home that we are working on right now. And we're going to go through everything, and we're going to talk about the things you bid, what to expect, what not to expect, where to focus on, what is the money makers, what aren't the money makers. How can you succeed in this industry? And that's what we're here to train you for. So that way you can take an opportunity, which is going to be coming up shortly, and make a lot of money. This business will never die. This business will never go away. This business is in good times. We're even busier trying to trash out properties, trying to get things done so that way the bank can sell them at auction. At the bad times, when the economy is crashing and everything's going bad, we're still busy as can be, getting things taken care of. We're working for our neighborhoods to try to take that abandoned property with 4-foot tall grass. We're here to take care of those things. We actually just did a property last week. Code enforcement I met the code enforcement officer there, by the way. He was just having a hard time getting a hold of anybody. He didn't know. He called the lawyers. He called the bank, and the bank's like, that's not our problem. The lawyer's like, it's not our problem. The code enforcement's like, I'll just start finding the house, and then you guys can figure it out because that ain't my problem. But, we did the initial secure a month ago. Now we're here. The grass was, 4 foot tall. There was junk and debris scattered everywhere. And we go in and we move the debris. We throw away the junk. We trash out the outside, shall we say. We move the personal items inside. We cut the grass. We trim the shrubs. We take down slab. We do this, and the house looks presentable again. It's not the dollars that matter. It's that neighbor coming over to me, that 97-year-old neighbor struggling across the driveway just to say thank you. Place looks amazing. Thank you. Oh man, we still got plenty of work to go. Oh no, it looks 1,000 times better. And then the neighbor from across the street comes over and just personally comes out and says, I saw you guys working all day yesterday and today. I just want to thank you for all your hard work. The place looks amazing. And then tells me stories about the houses and so on and so forth. The other neighbor from the other side comes over and, she thanks us again for so much. And she's having all these problems with mice and snakes and going into her yard. And she thanks so much for cleaning up. We advise, we're taking care of this. This is who you call, so on and so forth. That's who we work for. And that brings so much more joy and satisfaction knowing that we have impacted. We've changed the neighborhood. So again, if that's what you're interested in and putting in some hard work and making a lot of great money, if I remember right, just to give you insight, so we took 3 trailer loads of stuff out of that property We cut the grass on that property. Yeah, there's a few other small items on that job, which took about a day and a half to do. We made over $4,000. It's not bad money, you know? We've done jobs that, I mean, we're going to go do another $5,000-$6,000 job next week. We have another $8,000 worth of work that we're doing. I'm just sharing some numbers with you to think that, oh, gee, you only make $5 on this. You make $2 on this. It adds up. Trust me, it does. And I always keep my box of hose caps. I buy those 1,000 at a time. I make $9 off of each one of them. So each time I get them cases, I make $9,000 off of putting a hose cap on houses. And as Mary said, yeah, we get paid like $10 a piece, $15 a piece, but every house requires 4. You know what I mean? Some houses require 6, 10. That's an easy $100. Takes 15 minutes or 15 seconds to do. You know, so what I'm getting into is that the business is very profitable. There are some quirks, but again, bidding, pictures, and more pictures. Get into the industry. It's going to change your life. It's fun. It's exciting. And it's one of those things that is necessary, not only for our industry, but also for your neighbors around you. I could not think of myself doing anything else. I really couldn't. And I've been doing this for a long time, and I plan on doing it for a lot longer. So hopefully I can take the knowledge. Hopefully you sign up. Hopefully we get this community built and stronger and growing. And number one, we can change your life like we did with Anthony and like we did with Rob. And hopefully we can change your life too. And if not, thank you for hanging out. And we always got some fun pictures and some fun stories. Alan, can we bring up our pictures of our stairs, please, as kind of our funny moment of the day?
Yeah, I was about to say we forgot the picture of the day.
Yes.
Here.
So there you go, people. That's special. Not even using press. See, there's where they went wrong. They didn't use pressure treated lumber. So please, let's not be that guy. All right. Let's try to do a little bit better out there. But again, I'm done. I've wrapped up everything. So I want to personally thank everyone for hanging out with us again. Got all these kind of fun stories and fun things to go through. And yeah, so hopefully we'll see you again next week.
So to wrap it up here, go to our website at propertypresinsiders.com. All our links are there. The links to the school, everything else. Our Amazon page is there. Go there, browse around, contact us, ask your questions, leave your comments. So until next week, where we talk more about the property preservation industry and all kinds of other things that we can get into. I mean, you got to admit, you got to love that picture, though.
I just hope they nailed the palace together. I really do. You know what I mean?
I hope so.
Well, actually, bring that back up. What's so funny is that they didn't put the handrail on the other side of the door. You know what I mean? They only put it on the front. They didn't even put it on the side. Man, they're getting cheap, aren't they?
Say the least.
And the sad part is that someone got paid for that.
Yeah.
That's wow. And I see that all the time. I had one where they actually took the staircase, the pre-made treads you buy at the box stores, and they turned it around so that way it would fit. So every step was like, 12 inches. Yeah. It's crazy what you do see. But again, that's one of the premise where we need to find better people that actually care. And the other thing is you have all of these regional companies out there that are not in this country, and they take so much money from the job that there's barely anything left over. Now, I'm starting to see a change in that. But the other problem I have is that I would rather have any money that is being profited by a company because, hey, we're all going to make money, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I'd rather see a regional make money off of my labor And that money stays inside of our country instead of being shipped out to buy a mansion somewhere else. You know what I mean? I just saw a recent post, which I thought is hilariously funny. I'll have to bring it up. A company was looking for help. And of course, I Googled their address, and it is a 3-bedroom house. And I Googled the business, the name, and found the owner's name. And the owner's name is not the owner of the house. So I said, hey, do you guys operate out of the living room, or did you take the bedrooms as your office? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Because why should I trust a company and extend them $10,000, $15,000 worth of credit if you're based out of a house? I can't see you. I can't talk to you. What does that tell you? You know, I have a business here. I have equipment here. I have a stake here. I just can't pick up and leave. I'm not a piece of paper. I'm not a paper-sized entity. I'm for real. We have employees. I have stuff to lose. I want to make sure the subcontractors we have are doing the jobs properly, are doing the jobs correctly. And hey, even if you mess it up, this is what we need to have happen so that way we all can get paid, you know? But at the end of the day, these companies have no stakes. These companies can it's just paper. They just close down and start another one. And to all the nationals out there, stop using them. You know where the money's going. You know they rip these contractors off. Stop giving them their contracts. Stop giving them this work. Give it to that American company out there. Give it to the American contractor. Plain and simple. Remember, American property, American taxpayer money, American contractor. Let's keep the money here in the States. So
that is a good place to close it up. So go to our website, check out all our stuff, and we will see you again next week. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Have a great week.
Thank you so much for spending time with us. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to follow us and share it with your friends. Got questions? Go to our website, propertypresinsiders.com. We'd love to hear from you.